on Members' Order of the Day number 1.
Environmental Protection Authority, Protection of Environment Amendment Bill, second reading.
Meka Whaitiri.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Environmental Protection Authority Protection of Environment Amendment Bill be now read a second time. Mr Speaker, it's my pleasure to report back the bill after it's been considered in the Select Committee, and clearly Labour is supporting this bill in the House in its second reading, sir. May I just first and foremost acknowledge the support of both New Zealand First, the Greens, the Māori Party and United Future in supporting this bill to Select Committee, sir. Can I also, while I'm on my feet, acknowledge the many submitters that came from a wide-ranging field of expertise, sir, from many of our national non-government agencies in the environmental space, to Te Runanga of Ngāi Tahu, to Ngāti Kahungunu Iwi, who felt it was important to make a submission on my bill, sir. So, this bill, sir, amends the Environmental Protection Authority Act 2012 by adding an additional objective that the organisation must aim to protect, maintain and enhance New Zealand's environment. When the Act was passed, the stated objective of the Environmental Protection Authority contained an important oversight, and that it did not actually require the protection of the environment as part of the authority's role. And this bill aims to correct that, sir. What the bill does is place protection of New Zealand's precious natural environment right at the heart of the law governing the Environmental Protection Authority. Sir, the bill does this by cementing in legislation Environmental Protection Authority's role in protecting the environment by amending Section 12, subsection 1, by inserting the following clause, Part C: protects, maintains and enhances New Zealand's environment. Mr Speaker, we had close to 200 submissions to this bill in Select Committee, actually 206 submissions, sir, that we received. 198 supported the bill and 8 opposed the bill. And in the time I've got, sir, I'd like to address the 8 opposition views and what both the officials through the Ministry of Environment as well as the Environmental Protection Agency said. Essentially, sir, the opponents to this bill made statements. Well, the position is clear that the bill was unnecessary. Amending the Principal Act would create uncertainty and confusion. The bill would impose delays and impose costs. The amendment would prioritise environmental protection over economic growth and sustainable management goals. The bill would alter the scope of the EPA, and the amendment will create conflict with the Resource Management Act. Sir, if I turn to the feedback both from the Ministry of the Environment and the EPA, there are comments there around from the Environmental Protection Agency, particularly, sir, that talks about by adding this particular clause, we are creating a new test in the account which potentially conflict with the purpose, principles and other consideration of the Environmental Act may bring, sir. And that's the point in a lot of the submitters that came to the Select Committee, is that this amended bill actually clarifies the role of the EPA. It makes it really clear by adding that objective that it's there to protect the environment. There's no ambiguity with those sets of words, sir. They are very, very clear. And so I again challenge the both the findings of the Environmental Protection Agency when they allude to the fact that this is only going to create another test and lead to further confusion, sir. By way of example, in their report to the Select Committee, they reference the unnecessary of this particular amendment because it would lead to a particular conflict between managing the resources in a way that provides for people's economic well-being, which may conflict with the requirements to protect and maintain and enhance the environment. But again, Sir, that goes to the whole point of this bill, because it makes it really clear that in addition of managing our environment, it actually protects the environment. And so, Sir, that point I challenge from the feedback from officials. The other comment, Sir, is the fact that the additional objective to the EPA Act would likely to have a negative effect on exploration companies. And Sir, it's by no surprise that the 8 opposing submitters to my bill were actually exploration and petroleum companies. And so the point that they made was that by putting this in here, it'll cause uncertainty for those companies seeking exploration permits. It'll be unclear, it'll be costly, the process will be extended, and therefore they had complete difficulty with this amendment, Sir. But again, I would say to the House that having the protection as a clear objective of the authority would make it very clear to oil exploration companies or mineral exploring companies that when they put a proposal, Sir, that they need to make sure that it isn't impacting on the environment. As I turn to those submitters, and I do, Sir, want to quote from some of the submitters because they probably said it best as to why that we needed to support this amendment. And I talk specifically around the duplicated effort that was profited by the Select Committee, the majority members of the Select Committee, to basically say that this was an unnecessary bill, Sir. And we had a submission from Te Runanga of Ngaitahu that made it really clear that this enabled the authority to apply another lens on consideration of permits, Sir. And I think not only applying another lens, but it also ensured that the obligations entered into Te Runanga o Ngaitahu through its treaty settlement was it upheld the principles guaranteed them under their particular settlement, Sir. And so I thought that was your bell, Sir, in someone else's bell. But in asking for support of the members that got this bill first passed off to the Select Committee, Sir, it's important that those that submitted, be them Te Runanga o Ngaitahu, be them Sustainable Council of New Zealand, be them Forest and Game, the support was overwhelming from the 198 submissions, Sir, and that it made clear sense, it was unambiguous, that it was about, first and foremost, protecting the environment, Sir, and sending a very, very clear signal that our economic development shouldn't come at the expense of our environment. In fact, our view on this side of the House was that when the officials advised the committee that it took a either-or approach. And Sir, one of the suggestions that we made during our Select Committee deliberation was that I look forward to officials giving advice where we look for ands and ands. And there were plenty of examples in the submissions that we got that gave both protection for the environment as well as enabling development down the end, Sir. So, from our side of the House, Sir, this is an important piece of legislation that I hope parties across the House will give due consideration in supporting it. It is about our environment, Sir. It is about our opportunity. It's about our image and who we are in this global world that makes us unique as Māori people and as New Zealanders, and I commend this bill to the House, Sir.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.